All right. So I am going to be working on some of the visual effects for my film, The Darkness Rolled Over Her. It's a feature film from a short story that I wrote called The Darkness Rolled Over Her. And if you go to fivecoffeesinabook.com, you can get the ebook for free. And there's also a discussion guide there. So here's fivecoffeesinabook.com. You can go there and get the ebook of the short story for free, and you can see the trailer to the film and some other things. So I'm going to be working on some visual effects. I've already got it pulled up. So let me take us over there. All right. So let me adjust some things here. We'll just move that right over there. That's better. Okay. So what you're looking at here is I've got Resolve open in the background, and then I've got two Notion windows open. Notion is sort of a note-taking app, but it's more than that. It has its own AI stuff built in, which I haven't really used much yet. And but the biggest thing is that you create pages, and you can nest pages, and they can either be sort of text, and it uses Markdown style text formatting, or you can do database stuff, very simple tables and things. Well, I say very simple. It's actually, you can do quite a bit with it. So things that you might normally do like in Excel or something, trying to keep a database, but in a spreadsheet program. Here it's sort of actual databases, and so you can filter and sort, and I know you can do a lot of that in Excel or Google Sheets as well. But anyway, you can do it all here and sort of keep it nested. And you can take views from, so you can have a database somewhere that has all your information in it, but then you can take views and paste those into other pages where you've got some other text and things. So what we're looking at here on the right, this window here, this is my itinerary for the day. I have a virtual assistant that I built in ChatGPT, and we sit down every Monday morning and we do like a staff meeting for the week. And then every morning we do the itinerary for the day. And so right now I'm doing maker block number 1, which is right here. And it's a VFX sprint, working on some of the VFX here for the film. And so I'm going to be doing that until about 2 o'clock. I've actually got two in a row with like a little break, so maybe we'll take a little intermission here in a minute. But I'm looking at need to get my other screen going here, sorry. I look at my itinerary, and I have that up just to make sure that I stay on the tasks that I have planned for the day. I'm real bad about getting zoned into one thing and working on it for 6 hours, even if it's not something I even needed to do today. And so this kind of helps me sort of pay attention to what I need to be doing. And I have, a lot of times I'll set timers just so I won't get locked in. And I set aside time to do planning, and I do the planning, and then I set aside time to do working. And I try not to let my planning brain come into the work time, because that's when I choose the wrong tasks to spend time doing. So we're going to hopefully work on the right things today. I just want to get a little bit done on visual effects. I wanted to live stream. I haven't live streamed in a long time. I finally got a new computer. So what you're looking at on the screen there is not this computer. It's my other computer that I'm bringing this. I'm sharing the screen of that over here. And also there's the camera here where you can see when I go to work with the Resolve micro panel that you can see what I'm doing there. And yeah, so hopefully this will work better than some of the live streaming stuff I've had in the past. As soon as I moved into color grading and Resolve, my GPU, my RAM just bottlenecked on this old MacBook Air. Well, I say old, it's 2020. It's an M1. It's still a beast, still does excellent work, and great for a portable computer. But now I have a Mac Studio at home, and it's an M4 Max. It's 128 gig of RAM. It's got 40 GPUs, so I can do a lot more with it. I can do a lot more in real time. I've bought some SSDs since the last time I live streamed, and so that was another bottleneck, was just trying to pull files over USB 3 on these, 5400 or even the 7200 RPM drive is too slow for these big 6K B-RAW files, to play in real time. But the SSDs handle it handle it quite nicely. So so let's get into it. So this is my Notion, itinerary. This over here is another Notion window, and what I'm looking at here is this is a table that I made with Noah, who's helped me with every step of this video so far. And we sat down together and worked out like who was going to do what, and we built this table last Friday. And so the full table, let's click on that over here. The full table has the description of the shot. This is from an old spotting session that we did like 2 or 3 years ago. And then I went through and looked up what is the time code for the beginning of that shot in Resolve. And so I was able to put the beginning time code in there. That way I can go into Resolve and just type that number and it takes me right to that shot. We set them up in varying degrees of priority. So there's some VFX shots that we must have, some things that are key to the storytelling or big mistakes, that we got to fix, or things that for whatever reason we did not do the day of. For instance, one of the ones Noah is working on this week is an insert of a phone sitting on a nightstand, and we needed it with 2 different times, and for some reason we only shot it with one of the times. I don't know why we did that, but anyway, we've got to have the other time. So he's going in to that shot and changing the clock and some things like that. So so there's that. That's what the must-have stuff is. Then we have the should-have stuff, which is in orange here, and this is stuff that we really ought to have in the film. And the only reason we wouldn't do it is if we were just in some sort of time crunch and just decided we gotta release and we can't do anymore, or if we just decided, it's too expensive to do this, we can't do it, or whatever. So that's what the should-have stuff is. And then down here in the purple is the take or leave. Hey, if we got time and we're able to knock this out, let's do it. Or if somebody wants to volunteer and I hand them one of these and they do it and it looks great, perfect. So one of these is changing the time on the clock to 4 p.m. There's a shot in the store later in the film, and it's supposed to be in the afternoon, but because we shot it in the morning and it was the first thing that we shot that day, the clock that's in the room that I didn't notice when we were filming says it's 9 o'clock in the morning, because that's what time it was when we were there. And so Noah's going to go in and change that to 4. That's a simple tracking shot. It's just sort of in the top part. It's kind of cut off in the frame anyway. It's not something we necessarily need, but it would be good to have, and it wouldn't take long to do. So Noah says, hey, I'll do that this week. So then we assigned who was going to do it. So Noah and I both have Notion, and we have like a business a pro account. So when I put the person in there, I'm not just putting in their name, but I'm actually attaching it to that identity inside Notion. So when Noah makes a change or assigns me to something, I get a notification. I get a Notion notification on my phone, that sort of thing. Sorry, let me go to my... I'm trying to use my Twitch account here, and I don't know how to do it. It's been so long since I have... oh, there we go. Stream Manager. Perfect. That's what I wanted. I think that's what I wanted. Excellent. Okay. So, so when I tag a person in there, it's deeply connected to our use of Notion. It's not just putting the text of my name in there. And so that also allows us to filter and sort and those kinds of things. Then there's a due date column, which is self-explanatory. Not all of these have dates yet, but we went ahead and marked out which ones we thought we could get done this week. We're filming some interviews on Monday with Carrie and Phil, who play the leads in the film, and I would like to show them the progress on the film, let them see it in full resolution with a 5.1 sound. They've not seen it that way yet, and kind of get them excited for finally finishing this up. We've been, in post-production on this for 5 years. So we figured out, okay, what are the things that we can kind of knock out and have in the timeline on Monday when they come to sit down and watch the film. And so that's all that has due dates now. I'll go through at some other point and put due dates in for the rest of it. But you can see there's not a ton of effects, and a lot of it has due dates. So a lot of it we hope to get actually, kind of knocked out this week, maybe, or at least get started on. So that's pretty cool. That was a good feeling to see that, because I was very overwhelmed by how many visual effects were left. And once we went through this process, I realized, hey, this is doable. We can do this. Then there's a status column, and the status by default is not started, of course. And then there are four types of in progress settings, which you can see in the little pop out here. I realize it's very tiny. Oh, actually, you know what? We can do, oh, look at that. I think we can look at the hair. Now you can actually see what we're doing. How about that? That's pretty cool. Okay, so then there's waiting, which means usually Noah is waiting on me to get him something. So I'm the one who is extracting the clips and putting them in Dropbox, and he's doing After Effects for most of the stuff that he's doing. I'm doing stuff in Fusion right in Resolve, so I'm not needing to export anything for myself. But so anyway, when he's waiting, it's usually on me to export a clip. I got him Resolve Studio, and I gave him a hard drive that had all of the raw footage so that he could do this himself. But the problem is the drive was in Mac format, and Davinci Studio only works on his PC. So I may try to reformat that drive and put everything back on it and take it back over to him, so that way he can actually use Resolve the way that I'm using it and log in and have access to all the original files and stuff. Maybe that's a task I'll add to my to-do list this week. But anyway, so that's waiting. He's waiting on something before he can finish, or he's waiting on me to review something or whatever. In progress just means we're working on it. We started it. Deferred means we've decided to put that off for the time being for whatever reason. There's also a notes column at the end where we might list sort of why we might have deferred something. This pink purple is needs verifying, and so we have several that are needs verifying right now. And again, in the notes section, you can see why something might need verifying. So here, this one is a must-have that's assigned to Noah, and the due date is today, but it needs verifying. And so the verifying here that it needs is color management. So I need to look and make sure that I have exported the correct original file for him. These are ones that he's already done, but he might have done them on an old export. So I need to export the newest clip, let him, re-render it with the new clip, or, maybe adjust some things or redo the content aware stuff. But basically they're done. We just need to sort of finalize. So you can see there's several of those just in this Zoom that we have here. So that's pretty cool to have all those basically, sort of ready to go. So that's the table that we have, and that's sort of everything that's here. And then in Notion, you can have other table views. So we'll just zoom back in here and get where you can kind of see what we're looking at. All right. So if I go to a view, I have some set up here like Skidmore next 7 days. Okay, so I'll click on that, and you can see here what the filters and the sorting are. So it's sorted by due date. So if you go over here on the far right, the due date is up first, October 27th. It's filtered by status. So only things that are to do or in progress. If I've done it, it shouldn't appear in this list. So the things that I've already done this weekend, they're already off the list. Things that are only assigned to me. I don't want to look at Noah's tasks. I don't need to know about that. And then these two rules here is if the due date, if the start date is relative today in the next 1 week, or if the due date is before today, meaning it's overdue, then it shows up in this field. And then these red ones, I have a color. You can go into the table settings, and there's a conditional color section here. And so you can see what I have is if the start date is before today, make the page background red. And if the due date is today, make it blue. I don't have any that are specifically due for today. I think I set most of mine for October 31st. Yeah. So these red ones are the ones that I was supposed to have done before today. So I need to take a look at those. So this is what I'm going to work on today, is just sort of anything from this list. What I've decided to take a look at is this shot, the stabilizing shot here. And that's what I have pulled up in Resolve. So we're going to dive into Fusion. We're going to look at this in Resolve. We're going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to come back and do that. Hey, thanks for popping in there, Camera Tim. Notion and Resolve, two of my favorite things. And we're going to take just a 2-minute intermission, and I will be right back. So don't go anywhere. All right. We have now been to the can and got our water refreshed, so that we'll probably have to go again very shortly. But now we're ready to do some work. So the shot that we're actually looking for. So let's go back and look at Notion real quick. The starting time code is 1533010. 1533010. 1533010. That's it. That's the shot. So I'll just play the shot for you so you can kind of see, and I think to play the sound and everything. I am recording. I mean, it's as I live stream, this will record. So I'll probably put some of it up on YouTube. I used to live stream to both, but sometimes that didn't work very well with my old setup. So I haven't. This is my first time live streaming in like a long time. In fact, I used to have a thing that would ping me every time I got a message, and I don't have that loaded. I'll have to figure that out once we sign off. But you should be able to hear what I'm playing. So this is, just to give you some context, Gwen is the main character in the story. She's decided to take her own life. You find that out in the early seconds of the story. And she's got this one last trip that sort of was planned. So she's like, okay, I'll go on that, and then I'll come home and do what I've planned to do. Well, the trip is a fly fishing retreat. So she gets paired up with this old fly fisherman named Roy. And their conversation, their friendship throughout the day kind of challenges her decision a little bit. So this is after they've been fly fishing. She's sort of thinking through some things. They've kind of made this friendship, and now she's really kind of stirred up because she'd already decided what she's going to do, but now she's like sort of questioning it. And so she's going to have this sort of moment alone in the tent. Roy says, you can go in my tent and change your clothes, because she fell in the water and she's wet. So she's going to go change her socks and shoes and things. So she goes in the tent. She has sort of a little moment alone. By the way, this is from a short story I wrote called The Darkness Rolled Over Her. I wrote and directed the film as well. I've edited it. I'm doing the color grading. I'm doing some of the visual effects, done the sound design. This has been a labor of love. Been editing it for 5 years now. And you can go to 5coffeesinabook.com and you can get the ebook for free. You also get on the mailing list to find when the film is done, if you care about that. All right, so here's the scene.
This green tent over here is mine if you want to change out your wet clothes and all.
All right, so that's the scene. This is the scene that we're doing. Yeah. So this was obviously me just shaking the camera back and forth, in the shot. But the intention, I completely ripped this off from Fight Club. There's shots in the film where they do this, where they shook the camera and then they stabilized his face in the middle, Brad Pitt's face. You can see my big Fight Club poster back over here behind me, big Fight Club fan. But they stabilized it in post, and then where there's frame missing, they added in like the sprocket holes of the film, as if the film you're watching in the theater is about to come off the, come out of the gate, come right off the reel. And I thought this might be an interesting way to, again, show some of the turmoil that's going on inside of her. So we've done some things earlier in the film with water and her room filling up with water and this big waterfall VFX sequence that we're working on. And so after we establish that in the beginning, then we come back to some of these water sounds. What's here is temporary. It's not finished, but you get the idea, sort of just these waves sort of crashing over her. Again, going back to the title, The Darkness Rolled Over Her. She's in this really dark moment, and it's just sort of comes crashing down now that she's had some time to herself for the first time all day. And so what I would like to do is stabilize this so that she is in the center. And I've got a number of problems, some of which I could have combated if I had better sense while I was on set. And others were things that I sort of discovered after the fact. I probably could have guessed, but as I slowly sort of scrubbed through, you can see the shot not only shakes, but it also shears because of the rolling shutter and the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. And so that's going to be a challenge, because not only do I need to center her in the center of frame, but I'm going to have to deal with that shear. Going to have to do some kind of corner pin or something. I'm a little new to Resolve, so I'm not broadcasting as an expert, but rather broadcasting so that you can watch me learn and maybe you'll learn along with me. I'm not a Fusion expert by any means. I know just a little bit about how to kind of get around in Fusion. I'm still very much learning that. I'm not even sure Fusion is the best tool, to do the stabilizing. I've tried using the stabilizer in the color page, and that doesn't cut it. That brings me to the second set of issues, which is there's not really anything to latch onto. I mean, even her hair is sort of the same color as as the background, and I have these very defined high contrast things in the background, but they're curved lines and they don't have any points, and so there's just it's not really anything to track and stabilize against. So it was really, I could have done a number of things very easily on set. Even just putting things outside the tent that would sort of show through the translucent tent. You can kind of see there's some things through the fabric there. I'm using the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K, and yes, it does have a gyro in it, and apparently does gyro data, but nobody knew that until about 2 or 3 months after we shot this movie. So apparently the way it was the gyro was always in the camera and nobody knew, but they did not enable it in the firmware. They did not tell anybody until they enabled it in the firmware. And of course, that was the first question everybody had was, wait, do I have gyro data and the stuff that I've already shot? And they said, no, you don't, because it wasn't in the firmware. So now I can shoot things with it and have all the stabilization data. It'd been perfect for this shot. It'd be exactly what I need, right? So, so I think the way that I've kind of thought about tackling this, and I've used After Effects quite a bit in the past. Fusion does not work like After Effects at all. Fusion is node-based rather than sort of layer-based, stack-based. So I'm sort of still thinking in sort of After Effects mode. But I think the way that I'm going to have to do this is, first of all, I'm going to need to export this frame and create an overlay. And the overlay is going to basically have this curve in it. And I do have this one sort of trackable thing. Her body doesn't move a lot. So she does move, so I can't track her body. But it doesn't move a lot. And her left shoulder, the shoulder on our right, doesn't really move much. And there's this little flange hanging out over here. This guy right here that is a zipper on the outside of the tin, or a zipper for there's a window. That's what that big curve thing behind her is. It's a window that's zipped up. And so there's something there anyway that is high contrast ish. And I might be able to track that point. So yeah, I tried a lot of different tracking things this weekend. I've already played with this some, and I've tried tracking different things, and I can't remember if her arm moves in front of it or what the deal was, but we'll look at it and see. Maybe I don't know if I tried tracking just that one point. I was trying to track regions and trying to use like cloud tracks and trying to use just a specific point track, but maybe we'll try that. So anyway, even if I just track that, I think I can stabilize from that track. But again, that's not gonna handle the with the planar tracker exactly. So that's still not gonna handle the shearing and all that stuff. Which if I can get it stabilized, the shearing will be a lot easier, obviously, to deal with. Yeah, if I had any kind of high contrast anything in the background, the planar tracker would be perfect for this. Well, I say perfect. The motion blur, is obviously is an issue. If I'd taken the shutter angle down, a little smaller, so there wasn't any motion blur, and then added motion blur back in, that's another thing that I could have done that would make this easier to track. Because even if I had trackable things back there, and I think that's why trying to track this little point has not worked, because at some point it gets so sort of furious in there that you can see how blurry it gets, even on a frame like that. Like I can see it with my eye, but a tracker has trouble with that kind of stuff. I mean, look at this frame, right? I mean, you and I can know where it's there, but so anyway, let's dive in. Let's take a look. Let's see if we can get something more done than I was able to do earlier this weekend. And when I say earlier this weekend, I mean at like 3 o'clock in the morning, when I was like, I really should be going to bed and not working. So it looks like I got so fed up with it, I completely reset my Fusion. Yeah, my Fusion project. So we'll just click on the Fusion page. Did I click on that? Yes. Okay. Yes. And that'll create a Fusion project for us. And I don't really need the micro color panel, so I can turn that off for the time being. So we get some of that real estate back. Oh, why don't we? I guess it makes a little more sense to move that over there. Man, I haven't live streamed in forever. All right, so now we've got just a basic Fusion project here. And I'll go ahead and just load my source into there. I got my media out over there. So one of the first things that I did was I added some color correctors just to make it really high contrast, black and white, thinking, maybe that'll help the track some. So let's just take all the SAT out, and let's take let's play around with the gain and lift and such. So there's the gain, bring the lift down, make everything nice and dark, and I'll play with our gamma a little. Take my gain way up, take this gamma down, take this lift down some more. So I'm starting to get something kind of high contrast there on that tip that I'm wanting to track. And let's again look at one of these. Man, you can really see the jelly in these few frames right here, just so wobbly. Let's find a real blurry frame to look at. There's one. And let's see if we can get this kind of dialed in a little more. Turn our brightness down. Let's turn our gain up even more. Oh, we got a contrast. Let's turn the contrast up a little. Take the gamma. Giving me kind of something to track there. Creative video tips. Oh, okay. I will check that out. Oh, nice. Maybe we are cosmically aligned in some way. Um, I'll go ahead and put that in my. So I have been using this. This is Ripple Training. Their training stuff is just superb, and their core training for Resolve, and particularly the advanced color grading for Resolve, is really good. And they give you not only the lessons, that they have sort of their own player kind of built in, and everything sort of indexed. But they also give you all the media that they're working with, so you can work right along with them. And so I find it really easy to learn from, because I mimic what they do as they do it. As I'm watching, like on my iPad, which I have sitting off camera over here, and I will sort of watch and I'll do along with them. And when I go, oh, okay, I think I got it, I'll pause it, and then I'll go to my project and I'll work on a shot that has a similar need. And I'll try to do as much from memory as I can, and then I'll go back and, oh, how did they do that? Oh, yeah. And I've been able to learn Resolve basically by doing that, and then of course just by editing projects the way we learn any of this stuff. And they have one on Fusion. It's called Fusion 101, and it is a great 101, and that's it. Like advanced color grading has like 30 something lessons in it, and it's probably like 3 or 4 hours of material. It's just so rich and really good. Fusion 101 is like 4 or 5 lessons in it, and it's good. And it got me started with Fusion. I mean, Fusion is kind of like the old WordPerfect. I don't know how old you are, if you remember WordPerfect, but we used to load up WordPerfect on the old PC, and it would just be a blue screen with a blinking cursor. And it's like, you don't even know how to quit. You don't even know how to get out of it. We just have to turn the computer off. We didn't know what to do, because there was all these F12 functions and stuff to be able to open menus and all that kind of stuff. And it just was not very user-friendly. And Fusion's kind of the same way. It's a little intimidating. But so the 101 has helped me with that. But as far as color grading and stuff, I've learned stuff from Darren Moston. I've learned stuff from Colin Kelly. I don't necessarily do things the way they would do them, but they've helped me understand some organizational things. Colin Kelly's really helped me understand like color spaces and sort of be able to get my mind around that. So I really like their stuff. Of course, they have a ton of stuff for free. Colin in particular puts out a bunch of free LUTs and things like the utility LUTs that are pretty helpful. So I've used a lot of his stuff, but I haven't seen much of their stuff on Fusion. They may have it, but I haven't really searched. So let me put these both in here before I forget. I'm using the ChatGPT Atlas browser. We'll see what they know about it. So we're looking at Casey Ferris, and do another tab on. I love this where I can go over to my MacBook Air using the same mouse and keyboard. That is so great. All right, creative video tips. And looks like there's a YouTube channel. Sounds good. Oh, and it's giving me video tips on how to be creative, I guess, which is not what I wanted. But I think this is probably what I want. There we go. That's what I'm looking for, I assume. And then Casey Ferris, looks like I have some great pictures of him. Okay, I'll look at those. Let's do YouTube, Casey Ferris, maybe.
Do you want to learn Fusion? Do
Yes.
notes kind of...
But not right now. And then you has said one more, which was Daria. I really appreciate your help with this. This is great. All right, that's enough new people for me to look up at one time.
Hey, you, the photographer.
I'm not a photographer, but thanks for asking. Okay, I mean I am a photographer, but I have this poster that I've kept up in my. Well, we had this in my house growing up, and it's Will Rogers, an old American humorist, and it says, "Everybody is ignorant, only on different subjects." And so we had that hanging up in my house growing up. It was my dad's poster, and I didn't really know what it meant as a kid. But when I started, so I'm a filmmaker by background, but when I started writing books, I went into it not knowing anything about the book industry. I don't really read books. Like I like to watch movies and TV, but now I've got 3 short stories and a novel, and so I'm like, well, I'm not an author, but I got 4 books, but I am a filmmaker, but I don't have a movie. So what am I, you know? And I realized one of the reasons why I was able to do the book stuff was, I just didn't have any pride about it, you know, because I'm not an author. I don't consider myself an author, really. And now I do, but like at the time I didn't. So I was fine with being ignorant. I was okay going into it saying, hey, I don't know about this. Somebody tell me what's going on here. And it just completely killed all the pride and showed me how much my pride was keeping me from getting done in my, in my filmmaking life, which was, you know, a little humiliating, necessarily so. And so it made me think about this poster that, you know, I was ignorant about the books. That was just, I know a lot about a lot of things, but I was willing to say, hey, I'm ignorant about this. Somebody show me. And now I got 4 books. So I thought I need to take that same ignorance into my film stuff. So that's why I live stream this thing I don't know how to do. Because A, it keeps me focused and on task, keeps me talking through what I'm doing. So I'm sort of teaching myself as I go. And then if somebody else comes in and they know more than I do, fantastic. I'm perfectly willing to be the ignorant one. There's a stand-up comedian, John Mendoza, who said something akin to, you know, it's nice to be stupid, because when you do something stupid, people go, what are you, stupid? And you go, yeah. And this makes life a lot easier. So, all right, life lessons. Okay, so now I will look at those things later. Thank you very much for those. And I saw where you said she doesn't have her own YouTube channel, but I will check that out. So, all right, let's see what I can accomplish on my own here. I've got just another few minutes before I need to go. So we'll try this tracker deal. Let's see with this what we can do. So now I want to track, and I think if I just do a tracker, the problem with doing just a tracker instead of the planar tracker is that the planar tracker creates a planar transform. And so that's one reason why I was trying to do the planar tracker, because I was trying to then extract the planar transform and then figure out some way to do that, or to reverse it, or whatever. And I don't know how to extract the tracking data, you know, from this tracker that's here by itself. And even if I did, then I'm not really sure what I would do with that. Now it seems like under the operation there was a stabilizing, match move, corner positioning, perspective positioning. Okay, interesting. So I don't know if I can do corner positioning and perspective positioning, because I only have the one track. I only have the one tracker. I don't really have anything else that I can reliably track in the shot. But I guess let's worry about that. Use for match move. Okay. So let's see if it'll track first. Otherwise, you know, all this other stuff is sort of kind of a moot issue. So, I mean, this is one of the worst frames. I think that's going to be maybe not bad. So let's go back to the first frame here, and let's put this on the tip here, and we'll save my project. I have 128 gig of RAM, so you think that would be enough, but every now and then Resolve just likes to just bleed into the RAM and shut the entire computer down. And then it never really recovers. I always have to just restart, but it's okay. And do I need to do anything else? I mean, I guess at this point I just want to attempt to track and see where I get. So we'll just track forward. I don't have to set a start point like with the planar tracker. Doesn't look like. So let's see. Let me see what my options are here. Show pattern names, the margin pattern. I'll deal with all that later. Okay, so let's do track. Opening frames, it's flying through, of course, because we haven't started moving yet. It's holding on so far. Oh, well, yeah. Now it looks like it got off onto her sleeve, maybe. Yep. All right. So We'll go back. And it's hard to tell where it gets off because that whole spline is there. But let's see. Let's play through it and see where we go. So, this is a Mac. I've got a Mac Studio. So I've got M4 Max. It's got 40 GPUs. And so the GPUs and the CPUs all share the 128 gig of RAM, I think. And I've got a stats app because I think it's all integrated shared RAM, which I think means that I have up to 128 gig of VRAM. Obviously, a lot of that's going to be used by the system, so it's not going to be all of that. But so I've got stats running, and currently with nothing happening, it says I'm using 88%, 88% of my RAM. Why? What is it doing? I guess just because Resolve is open. I just can't be right. Yeah, Resolve is using 87 gig of RAM currently. I don't know what all Resolve holds in RAM. Yeah. GPU's 1%. GPU's not really doing anything. CPU's 10%. It's not doing anything. But RAM is just, I got the most that I possibly could on the on this machine, and it still is just, I don't know, man. So I guess I'm gonna have to look into what I can do about that. Yeah. I just don't want a PC. I used to build my own PCs. I used to do PC. I don't want to go back. I know you get more processing power for your money and you get some more whatever, but max RAM usage in preferences. In system preferences? That's a good question. Let's see if the search in this thing is so broken. It tells me how much memory I have. Storage settings. Yeah, I'm trying to think. It seems like there is a place to set that somewhere. Oh, in Resolve preferences. Memory and GPU. System memory 128. Limit Resolve memory to 96 gig. Limit Fusion memory cache to 72 gig. So obviously both of those combined is too much. All right, so we're going to turn off auto. And I got Metal and OpenCL. Metal is obviously the Mac. Davinci Neural Engine processing. Apple Neural Engine or GPU, or leave that on auto. Apple Neural Engine. Okay. GPU selection is on auto because I only have, the M4s. And then I guess I should reduce some of this memory usage. So maybe I should limit Resolve. Oh, I got you. Yeah, that's the only thing that I've got. Usually max the usage. Okay. Well, we are maxed. That is unchanged. We are maxed out. So I'll take it. Max usage wasn't really changed anyway. Although, RAM has dropped now to 37%. Wonder if it just dumped the cache. Gotcha. Yeah, so that's why I have my MacBook Air now. That's why I haven't been able to live stream for the first time in a long time, because I just got the Mac Studio recently. And my MacBook Air has been great. Obviously, it started choking once I got into this color grading the 6K raw footage. I could color grade. I just couldn't watch any of it in real time. I'd have to render out an MP4 and watch that. And then any of this Fusion stuff, it just would bog down, especially anything that had any kind of neural, anything like a depth map or something like that. So now what I have is My Mac Studio, I've got this BenQ 27-inch 4K monitor, so that's the screen that you're looking at. And then I have my audio run out. So I've gone USB-C to DisplayPort here, and then I've got HDMI out to my Sony receiver because I'm also doing the sound design on this machine. So that way I can mix live in 5.1 over the HDMI multi-channel. And so I just have the HDMI out of my receiver coming into my MacBook Air as I've just got a little cheap Amazon HDMI capture device. And so that's how you're able to see what I'm doing on the Mac Studio. And so that has freed me up now to live stream because the only thing this computer is doing now is live streaming. It's an M1 MacBook Air. And then I've got the M4 Max that's actually doing all the stuff. So the MacBook Air can completely handle the live streaming. It just can't do it while Resolve is open. It did fine when I was doing Logic. I could do Logic and Final Cut also, I think. But as soon as I would open Resolve, OBS and Twitch and everything, it was just like, no, thank you. We're not going to do that. So, all right. I'm actually needing to wrap up here in just a little bit. I've spent too much time talking, but let's keep going through this and see what we've got. It holds the track pretty decently. It starts getting off right in here, looks like. Well, oh, it's not moving at all, is it? The IntelliTrack box instead of the actual crosshairs. NDI. I know what that is. What is that? NDI. I mean, with the M1s, the MacBook Air is the same chip as the Pro, unless you have a Pro or a Max chip, obviously. But if you've just got the regular M1 chip in your MacBook Pro, it's the same computer. It's the same brain. The difference, though, is the MacBook Pro has fans, and in lieu of fans, the MacBook Air uses throttling if it starts to overheat. So you don't even get all the functionality out of the computer you have when the chip starts to overheat. Yes. I think this BenQ maybe has something like that built in. But I had this already, and this is, how it works. Okay, so I want to not see the... I bet if I uncheck that, it's going to remove the whole thing. So I want to view the crosshairs, but not the active... not where the thing actively is. I guess I'm kind of doing that. Just trying to figure out where it goes off the rails. Oh. All right. Looks like it holds up to about right in there. Let's see if we can go... frame by frame here. Okay, there we got off. So now I'm wondering, can I move that? Is it going to move everything? No, it's not. Okay, just put it right back. Okay. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, I wonder if I track forward from this spot now. didn't seem to like that. Still latching onto that thing behind her arm. I think it's just going to take a lot of doing this. All right, I'll take a look at that. So I'm going to save this. I've got to run an errand, and we'll be back later this afternoon. So I may miss you, again, but I really appreciate all the help on this. I definitely appreciate this tip because that is exactly what I need, is to do some manual tracking on this. So I'm going to take a look at that before I dive back into this. And, if you don't have to follow, but if you do, you'll get a notification next time I'm on. And I'm going to be going through, you see the shots that I'm trying to do this week. I'm going to try and live stream every time I sit down to work, which should be a couple times a day. I don't have a schedule figured out yet. I'm just getting back into live streaming after not doing it for months and months. But I've got some other shots, some sky replacements, and just some things that should be relatively easy, but I just haven't done in Fusion and Resolve. And so trying to figure out how to work for those. But I'm going to assume your name is Tim, since you're Camera Tim. And Tim, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for your input. Invaluable. Really, really appreciate it. And I will be back soon. I think I have the trailer for the film in here, if it's still in here. Yeah. So I'll play that. Yeah, exactly. Like and subscribe. And I'll play the film, and then when it's done, the stream will be over. But if you're interested in watching the 2-minute trailer, here it is. So thanks for being here, and hopefully I'll see you around.
God, kill me. I want to die. And Gwen, you're with Mr. Roy.
Hello again.
Hi.
Roy Miller. Nice to make your acquaintance, Gwen Donnelly. Fish, they like facing upstream. Fish is always facing upstream looking for something. So I'm going to give them something. Ah, we forgot it. I suppose it's none of my business, but are you getting the help you need?
When we were getting on that bus, I saw this look in your eyes, and I thought, that's exactly how I feel.